Good morning. It's Ryan Howe with Summit Business Guides here on Summit Business News this morning. We got April 10th here, and it's Wednesday here. So this is typically the day where I talk about some of the questions I've dealt with my clients over the last week or so, things that have come up, things that I think are of note and important for a lot of individuals to hear, especially if you're in the business community. So two things that came up, and I just want to continue to chat about those are going to be, one is going to be, what happens if you got a slow person on your team? What should you do? How can you handle that from a supervisory, from a manager, from a leadership level? We're going to go through effective coaching conversations. It's my course. I actually have a section on there about how I want you to go ahead and handle those important conversations. But also we're going to talk about HR. There's been questions come up about, hey, what exactly is HR supposed to be doing? It's one of those things like, oh, we know they're there to listen to people, but they actually have responsibilities outside of that. And I want to be able to include that for folks here. So again, for folks who don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Howe. I am a business coach. I work with small and medium-sized businesses to help them grow their businesses faster than they ever thought possible. You can go to summitbusinessguides.com to learn more about what I do. So with that, let's start with our folks with the question number one, which is, what do I do if I have basically a slow team member, somebody who's not performing at the level that I expect them to? And it's a difficult conversation. It is challenging because they are getting the work done, but it's not at the speed that you need it to be for the rest of the team. So what I want you to do on this, again, this is just about done. I've got the course, Essential Coaching Conversations for Leaders at All Levels. This is a course that I teach in person to all of my clients. I also do it at our local Chamber of Commerce's. But I do have an online course, which is basically done. I just got to get a few more tests written. And once that's up and running, I'll have that out for folks to come check out. But anyways, as a manual, I've taught this for 25 years. And what I'd like you to do is we're going to go to section 20, page 21, which gets into preparation here. And what you want to do with this is you have to reset the expectation with this individual to be fair, okay? And that's one of the problems that I see supervisors, leaders, managers, they just come in and say, and they come after these folks saying, what is this? Why can you not perform at this level? What's wrong with you? What's keeping you from being able to perform at a high level? And what I want people, hold on, I forgot to turn something off here. My apologies on that. It's the joy of going live, right? Where you got to deal with some stuff like that. It's okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So with that, what I'd like you to think about here is that you just can't come in and start getting after the person. It's just not okay to do that. You have to go back and actually have a conversation with them. Make sure they fully understand what the expectation is, outline it for them, and then get them to agree to the new whatever that expectation is. All right. And so the way you do this is very straightforward. First is going to be preparation, and then let me make this a little bigger for you guys here. Again, this is page 21. This is under section 5 under preparation for essential coaching conversations. Again, proper preparation is a hallmark of professional supervisor and is vital to the coaching process because that's what you're doing here. You're actually coaching the individual to help them perform better. You have to plan for it though. And here's the things that you're going to do. You're going to gather all relevant facts and data, confirm a date, time, and location for the session, create an agenda, and then identify objectives and preferred outcomes. Now, we're just going to cover a couple spots here. When the course is up and running, you definitely want to come check it out to get it more detailed. I go into greater detail in the course itself. But your responsibility is here. I just want to talk about gathering all the relevant facts and data because slow is subjective. So we want to be able to get to that. So gather all the relevant facts and data. Examples include specific process or process step, direction given by leadership, or behavior outlined in employee handbook. Please note this does not say your opinions and feelings of those involved. Facts and data. Your job is to figure out the who, what, when, where, and how of the event. And the employee will provide the why. Why them and not you? Because you're not a mind reader. You have absolutely no idea why they took the action they did. So do not try to figure it out. This also keep you unbiased and open to hearing what they have to say. All right. So, and the reason I bring up preparation first is that you have a responsibility as the supervisor, manager, leader, owner, person instigating the conversation here to state unequivocally what their expectation is for that work. When I said specific process or training step, whatever that is, you need to make sure you have that outlined, how long it should take for them to do the work. And then you're going to reset that in the coaching conversation. Listen, and you can state it however you want, but you need to make sure you're saying, we expect you to, deliver, let's say 10 widgets per hour, whatever it happens to be, right? 10 widgets per hour. And they've only been producing 6 widgets per hour. You need to come back in and say, listen, we expect you to get to 10 widgets per hour. We know you can do it because we've seen you do it before, or every other person on the line is able to produce 10 widgets per hour. If you can't, so what is it that's keeping you from producing 10 widgets per hour? You're going to ask them that question, because your responsibility as a supervisor is to organize, train, and equip. You need to ask those questions. There's something in they didn't get the right training. Are they not, things not set up correctly? Are they missing pertinent equipment? What if they're too short? What if they're too tall, right? What are these different things that they have here that you just need to keep in mind? You don't know. They're going to tell you what may be keeping them from being able to perform that level. If they come back and say there's nothing really, they just didn't know they were supposed to go to that level, great. Have that conversation, reset it, and then follow the steps, which would be get them to agree to the new performance level. Once they do that, then you're just checking in with them on a periodic basis to make sure that they are meeting or exceeding that level. That's it. Don't overthink it. Don't come in with, feelings like hurt feelings or opinions that they're slacking or whatever. That has no place in again, essential coaching conversations. It's not how you get your people to perform. Just come in and ask the question. All right, here's all the information I found. Here's what you should be performing at. Here's where you're at. Get your delta. And after that, just ask the question and say, hey, can you get to this level that we expect? Now, don't expect it overnight. It's something that they're going to have to eventually train and work to get there, but you want to give them, a couple weeks to get there. If after that time they still aren't, you have another coaching conversation and you start to find out if maybe it's a job mismatch, maybe they shouldn't be there in that position as a whole, whatever it is. But you do not come in with opinions, biases, or thoughts that whatever they are as an individual. That's not, excuse me. Excuse me. Everything's blooming here right now, so my allergies are kicking in. The thing to keep in mind here is that you do not come in with this opinion on their performance and what's going on inside here. You don't get to do that. You are not a mind reader. Your job is to come in and take a look at it and say, okay, what is the relevant facts and data with this? And then what possibly might be keeping them from performing at a high level, okay? So with this, just remember, it's a conversation. Remove all of your biases from there, but you may also find out you didn't train them correctly. You may never set that expectation. It could be anything. So that's why you just come in. You want to come in with relevant facts and data and just ask the question about what is keeping them from performing. All right, so that was one of the questions that I had, and I have it come up periodically. It's one of my more favorite ones that I have because it really gets to the heart of the matter. Like you have to leave your opinions behind. So let's get to the next spot here. I had a question about what exactly HR does. So, this is very timely with Paycor. Again, links to this are in the description. Again, once I actually have the course up and running, Essential Coaching Conversations, the manual, you'll start seeing more information about that coming out. So, all right. So with that, what are the 5 main roles of HR? And they've got it kind of listed here. And this is where I explained to everybody, they're responsible for the human capital. That's what HR does. And let's take a look at their 5 duties that they have. An effective human resources department is a key part of business success. This team is responsible for your most valuable asset, your people. A lot of HR's responsibilities are invisible, especially if done well. That's true. There's a reason why a lot of people think HR, they don't really, I want to say do a lot, but they don't really know what goes on. It's because really good HR, you have no idea what they're doing. because most of the work they do, it has to do with people's personal issues that everyone should know about. It's kind of the thing, right? All right. So talent management team, the talent management team. Now, by the way, I don't agree in the order these are in, and I'm going to reorder them in the way that I recommend my clients that they do them. So talent management team, the talent management team is directly responsible for employees. These HR specialists recruit, hire, develop, engage, and retain your company's employees. To that, they need hard skills like data management, soft skills, and a formidable attention to detail. Recruiters build your company's workforce. They run the hiring process from start to finish. All right. So again, we know what recruiters do. They're bringing people in. I have I have a video actually out. It's on, if you go to 7businessguides.com, or if you subscribe here on YouTube, you can go and see. It's one of my long form videos, basically where I have my hiring funnel is listed. How to build a hiring funnel that keeps most people from applying. It's what you want. You want to limit who's applying. You only want the right people to apply. It doesn't do you any good to get 1,000 applicants if only 3% are the ones you want. Right? That's a lot of wasted time going through that. All right. So we got talent management. Absolutely, when it comes to recruiting, and just overall dealing with that. There's other piece here where they talk about talent management also refers to workforce planning and management. In other words, these managers need to be ready to step in when an employee leaves the company, whether they resign, retire, get laid off, or fired, take medical leave, or something else. Succession planning falls to HR. So, as in HR's operations support-ish, it's a staff function, but they need to be able to look at every single position, and the moment an opening occurs or one is projected, they need to already have a plan in place and be able to reliably explain when they should be able to have another person, fully trained person in that position, not just a body, fully trained, for planning purpose for operations. I have an entire video also on that if you're curious about the cost for turnover. It's higher than you think. All right, compensation and benefits. In smaller companies, your HR team may be able to combine compensation and benefits administration. Benefits administration as an employee retention strategy is kind of going out of vogue right now, and the reason is that pretty much everybody has benefits as something that they're touting. It's very difficult to find something that is completely different or is going to really put their thumb on the scale that's going to move somebody just for the benefits that you offer. I mean, obviously, if you have great benefits, fantastic, but trust me, people are more concerned about work-life balance and base level benefits at this point. Payroll administration is the other one. Definitely want to make sure you keep an eye on payroll. Base level agreement that you have with your employees. This is why it's so important if HR is managing payroll. You are going to tell them exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and what to deliver, and then you're going to pay them. So you expect them to get all their stuff right. You have to get payroll right, and having any errors in payroll is completely unacceptable. Training and development does fall under HR, whether you have a separate training function or not. HR is responsible for understanding and being part of the training and development because they need to know who they're hiring and what questions to ask. HR compliance, legal and regulatory compliance is a critical component of any HR department. Employment and labor laws are extremely complex. This should be bold, underlined, highlighted, and flashing, and they're always changing with big arrows pointing to that one. You need to have somebody who's on top of compliance nonstop. It's extremely important for your company. Very simple things can have lots of problems. And lastly is going to be your workplace safety. That can fall underneath there. I don't see a lot of that though. Typically, safety falls under an operations piece, but there are areas where HR does have some of that. So with this, in order of operations, I would be putting this in, personally, is going to be first and foremost is going to be HR compliance, then talent management, payroll, compensation, and benefits. All right, compliance is the biggest thing that you shouldn't see it, but when you're looking at responsibilities for HR, that has to be done correctly. All it takes is what you want to be able to show, specifically when you're dealing with HR and what they're doing, is that is meant to be when the labor board, right? Say somebody decides to sue you for whatever reason, for you let somebody go, and wrongful termination. They're going to ask to see, okay, give me the documentation and what your processes that you have in order to make sure, talk with people. We're going to look at all of the personnel files for this person, et cetera, down the line. You need to have a clear, concise, and repeatable process that you can go back and look to. I've seen way too many businesses where I come in and they don't have any sort of process for their HR. It's just kind of figure it out as they go along. They are one employee from suing them away from having a pretty hefty, also audits, fines, and basically just having to pay that person out, when really all they had to do was make sure everything was in the proper order to be able to have that. Payroll, for sure, definitely want that near the top of the list. Like I said, you got to get that right every time. There's no room for that. Main reason is that most of our employees that we have, and this means all from CEO down, across the country and around the world, the average employee is one missed paycheck away from financial issues, hardship. Okay, so just one mistake on one payroll is enough to cause additional strife and stress with our employees. So we got to get that right. And then we get into talent management. Plain and simple, your HR department, your HR manager, whoever you have, has to have a strategy and a process in place for how they go about hiring that's measurable. It's the only way you can do it. And the best HR managers and directors, the ones I've worked with and I've seen, have been exceptional at having that, because we could go through and just have those discussions about, okay, I'm getting ready to let somebody go. How long until I have a fully trained person in place? They could tell me it's going to be 12 weeks. Boom. I know exactly how much longer I'm going to have additional overtime. I'm going to have to spread some extra work around, extra hardship on my folks to be able to manage my operations. So, those are two things that I had to deal with again over the last week, was how to deal with a slow employee. Again, just take a look at that, folks. That is, that's a responsibility you have as a owner, leader, supervisor, manager, to make sure that you ask them, go in and just ask them what was keeping them from performing. Don't assume. Keep your opinions about them as a person out of it. Hear what they have to say, set the new expectation, get them to agree to it, and then check in on them. And if they're not meeting it, okay, now at some point you need to have the conversation if that's a job mismatch. Okay, or if they didn't know and now they start performing, great, problem solved. That's what you want to be able to have just a direct conversation about the facts and data that you discover. And then again, as we just talked about HR, it's so very important. So with that, I'm here every day between 7:30, 8:30-ish, just depends where I'm at with my clients in the morning, catching up. And this is all information that I share with my clients. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe, give me a like, reach out to me at